She said it plainly, like she was choosing a seat at the table instead of a side in a marriage. I want Aaron sitting beside me at dinner, and if that bothers you, just leave. The room didn't echo. It swallowed the words whole. I remember the soft clink of cutlery, the low hum of the AC, the way Aaron didn't even look up, just kept scrolling his phone like he belonged there. Like I didn't. I studied her face, searching for hesitation, a flicker of guilt. Anything. There was none. Just impatience, like I was already an inconvenience in my own life. So I nodded once. All right. No raised voice. No broken glass. Just quiet. I walked out with my dignity intact, but something else trailing behind me. Years of loyalty, trust, every silent compromise I had ever made. And for the first time, I realized silence could be louder than anything I'd ever said. I wasn't always the man who could walk away that quietly. Once I was the one who stayed too long, explained too much, forgave too easily. My name didn't matter in that house, only what I provided did. Stability, patience, silence. She used to call it strength. Later she called it boring. We had built everything from scratch. Late nights budgeting on the floor, cheap dinners that tasted better because we were together, promises whispered like they meant something permanent. I believed in consistency, in showing up every day even when it wasn't noticed. She believed in excitement, in attention, in being seen. Somewhere along the way, I stopped being enough for that. Aaron wasn't new. He had always hovered at the edges. Too comfortable, too familiar. I noticed the way she laughed a little louder around him, how my words got cut short when he walked into the room. I noticed everything. I just chose peace over confrontation, thinking respect didn't need to be demanded. That was my mistake, because when you make yourself easy to ignore, people don't hesitate to replace you. And by the time they realize your silence wasn't weakness, it's already too late to hear what it truly meant. It didn't start with that dinner. It never does. It began with smaller things. Easy to dismiss, easier to forgive. She stopped asking if I'd be home before making plans, said it casually, like my presence was optional now. I thought you'd be busy, she'd shrug, already halfway out the door.
Aaron's name slipped into conversations more often than it should have. Always harmless, always framed as coincidence. He just gets it, she once said, stirring her coffee without looking at me. The spoon kept circling long after the sugar had dissolved. At gatherings, I noticed the shift. Her body angled slightly away from me, toward him. The way her laughter lingered in his direction, not mine. If I spoke, there was a delay before she responded. Just enough to make it clear I wasn't the focus anymore. Once, I caught them sharing a glance across the room. Nothing obvious, just a fraction too long. A silent conversation I wasn't part of. I told myself I was overthinking. That respect didn't disappear overnight, it eroded slowly, quietly. But deep down, I knew. Every pause, every half-smile, every moment I was talked over. It was all adding up to something she hadn't said yet. Until that night, when she finally did. The turning point wasn't loud. It didn't come with a slammed door or a final argument. It came in the stillness after I said, "All right." I walked out, and for the first time, I didn't feel the urge to go back and fix anything. No replaying the conversation. No drafting apologies in my head for things I didn't do. Just clarity. On the drive home, the city felt unfamiliar, like I was seeing it without her for the first time. Every red light gave me space to think, and every green one pushed me forward without hesitation. I realized I had been negotiating my worth for far too long, reducing myself, just to maintain something that had already been replaced. When I reached the house, I didn't rush inside. I stood there for a moment, keys in hand, understanding what I was about to do wasn't impulsive, it was overdue. I changed the locks that night, not out of anger, but out of decision. Her messages started before midnight. Missed calls. Confusion first, then irritation. "Are you serious right now?" I didn't reply, because for once, I wasn't reacting. I was choosing. I didn't act out of impulse. I documented. That night, I sat at the same table where we once planned our future and opened my laptop instead. Bank statements, property papers, shared accounts, everything laid out with the kind of precision I should have used years ago. I wasn't looking for dirt. I was looking for clarity. The house was in my name. The utilities too. Most of the savings had come from my side, quietly built over time while she chased moments that didn't last. I had always handled the paperwork. The fine print she used to laugh off as your thing. Turns out, it mattered. I made a few calls the next morning. A lawyer first, calm, direct, no unnecessary details. Then the bank, to separate what needed separating. No drama, no accusations, just process. Her access was removed by the afternoon. Subscriptions, cards, shared logins clean. Quiet exits from every corner of my life. I didn't block her. I didn't need to.
Because this wasn't about punishing her. It was about making sure that when she finally understood what she had done, there was nothing left to return to. Morning came without noise. No messages I hadn't already seen. No urgency pulling at me. Just sunlight slipping through the curtains. Like nothing had changed, except everything had. Her calls started again around 9. This time, they carried something different. Not anger, not entitlement. Something softer, unsteady. I let the phone ring out as I made coffee, the same way I had every morning. Only now. There was no tension sitting across from me. No quiet resentment filling the space. By noon, the messages shifted, shorter, hesitant. Can we talk? Turned into please pick up. Then finally, the one I knew would come. I'm outside. I didn't rush to the door. I finished my coffee first. When I stepped out, she looked smaller somehow. Not physically, just certain things had left her. Confidence, maybe, or the assumption that I'd still be there no matter what she said. She tried to explain, words tripping over each other, but I didn't interrupt. I let her speak, the same way I always had. The difference was, I wasn't listening the same way anymore. When she finished, I just nodded once, and then I closed the door. News travels quietly at first, then all at once. Within days, mutual friends started reaching out, not to question me, but to understand what had already become obvious. The story she told them shifted depending on who was listening. Sometimes I was cold, sometimes overreacting, but consistency has a way of outlasting confusion. People remembered how long I had shown up without complaint. That weighed more than anything she could rewrite overnight. Aaron disappeared just as quietly as he had entered. Whatever existed in borrowed moments didn't survive real consequences. Without the comfort of my stability in the background, their connection thinned out, exposed for what it was, temporary, convenient. She tried to hold on to fragments, mutual circles, shared routines. But those things don't stay intact when the foundation is gone. Invitations stopped coming her way the same as before. Not out of punishment, just discomfort. People prefer clarity, and what she had created was anything but. As for me, the silence people once misunderstood began to look different. Not weakness, discipline, not absence, control. And that's why it matters. Because sometimes, the most defining moment in your life isn't what someone does to you. It's what you choose not to tolerate anymore. In the weeks that followed, life didn't transform overnight. It settled, quietly, steadily, like something finally placed where it belonged. I stopped checking my phone out of habit, stopped replaying moments that no longer deserved space in my head. The silence I once carried as a burden became something else entirely. Clarity. I learned that walking away isn't about proving a point. It's about protecting one. There's a difference between loving someone and losing yourself trying to keep them. I had crossed that line without realizing it, and leaving was the only way to find my way back. I didn't rush into anything new. No distractions, no replacements. Just time, used properly this time. I rebuilt routines that didn't depend on anyone else's approval, focused on things that gave more than they took. And slowly, I became someone I didn't need to explain anymore. She reached out once more, weeks later. I read the message, then I let it sit. Some chapters don't need responses, just endings. Because in the end, I didn't lose her. I lost the version of myself that thought I had to stay.